I make a motion to come out of executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We have a roll call vote.
Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Clifford?
Yes.
Mr. Connell? Mrs. Gillette? Yes. Mr. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. NATO?
Yes. Stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to seal the minutes of executive session?
Motion to seal the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. In compliance with Rhode Island General Law 42, 46, 4, and 5, there were no votes taken in executive session. And the first item on the agenda is student recognition. Mr. Lindberg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sherry, could we see the closed session?
Yes.
Yep.
You all set? Okay, great, thank you. So we're going to start with Smithfield Elementary School. This NSES Leadership Award is presented to second grader Abigail Halliwell. Abigail was nominated by her teacher, Mrs. Russo. Abigail arrives to school every day with a smile on her face and a can-do attitude that is second to none. She is unbelievably organized and does her very best every day. Abigail loves to read. She is especially interested in technology lessons and using technology in and out of the classroom. Abigail is a good friend to her classmates, continually sharing her knowledge with others. As a technology assistant and team leader, she is willing to take risks and an active participant in her classroom. Abigail always goes above and beyond expectations and works hard both in and out of the classroom. Congratulations, Abigail, on this well-deserved leadership award. Keep up the good work. The Halliwell Reach Recognition Program Award is being presented to fifth grader Abigail Tremblay. Abigail has been nominated for this award by her teacher, Mrs. Kohler. Abigail is a magnificent child, excellent student, and a once-in-a-lifetime friend. She has been loyal and supportive to her best buddy during that friend's serious illness. Abby focuses on positive ways to enrich the friendship by every means possible. She is humble about the positive effects her kindness brings to others. Abby works hard in class and is an excellent writer. Her kind heart and helpful spirit are sincerely appreciated by her principal, teachers, and classmates alike. Congratulations, Abigail. You truly reach for the stars. Aylin Nugent and Nathan Lamoureux, 8th grade students at North Smithfield Middle School, are this month's recipients of the Principal's Recognition Award. Aylin and Nathan both demonstrate good citizenship through the following 5 characteristics: responsibility, courage, honesty, compassion, and respect. Citizenship is an integral part of the middle school's core values and mission. It is with great pleasure that we recognize Aylin and Nathan for this significant accomplishment. Are they here tonight, John? Okay. You want to come
Well,
up?
we'll just cut them and give it to somebody else.
Cool.
They're not eating them anymore.
Anyways, let's recognize them. at the high school. Our students of the month, Robin and Cole, were two of 11 students who were selected for the 65-piece 2016 URI Southern New England Honor Band and gave a performance at URI's Fine Arts Center on Saturday, January 30th. These students recorded and submitted an audition recording and joined students from around Rhode Island and Massachusetts in the band. 3 scholarships were awarded to outstanding students at the festival, and notably, 2 of them went to North Smithfield High School. Congratulations to Robin and Cole for their Honor Band Scholarship Awards to URI and recipients of Student of the Month honors at the high school. We wish you all the best.
If you're here to speak, we have 2 sign-up sheets to speak either for public comment on agenda items or community comments. I don't know who's here to speak. Did anyone sign up, or did you know that there was a sign-up sheet? I'm sorry, I didn't say it first. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Mrs. Vada, you're the only person here to speak.
I actually would like to.
Oh, you would like to speak? Okay. Okay, there's two people to speak, so if we allow 10 minutes, that's 5 minutes for each of you to speak.
This is for the agenda item, is that correct?
Yes.
My name is Jean Mayo. I live at 11 Taratuta Trail, and I'm a former school committee member. And I was very sad to read on the ongoing agenda on the new business search for new school superintendent, because it means that Mr. Lindberg is leaving at some point, and I'm not sure that the timing is his choice. I was on the committee that hired him, and I have worked with him longer than any of you, and he has gotten a very bad rap, for whatever reason. Is he perfect? No, and I'm sorry to say that, but no one is. And after working with 4 superintendents and 4 interim superintendents, I know that you will never find a perfect superintendent, because everyone on a school committee has different expectations, different agendas, and different ideas as to what a superintendent must be and should do. Mr. Lindberg is only human, and he's done the best job that he possibly could, given the forces that have been working against him, especially for the past few years. The one thing that I know for sure is that he has always tried to do what was best for the education in this community, and he always had the children and their well-being uppermost in his thinking and in his heart, and he deserves thanks for that. And I hope that you all realize this. Not knowing where we were going with this or why, I have 2 comments. During this search, I hope that you will treat Mr. Lindberg with the courtesy that not only he personally deserves, but also the courtesy that the position of superintendent deserves. Do not push him into the category of lame duck. Let him do his job and support him as he does it. And also, I hope that you will put together a search committee that is representative of North Smithfield and its school system, people who will be working with the new superintendent, people who have a vested interest in the education that our children receive, and people who have knowledge and understanding of this community and its needs. Please don't try to do it yourselves, and please don't rush the process. The direction of this educational system is critically important to the future of the students and the citizens of North Smithfield. Please give this decision the proper attention it requires and deserves. And I thank you for listening, and I thank you, Mr. Lindberg.
Thank you.
440 Buxton Street, North Smithfield. I'm also here to speak about the new superintendent search. I'm here to speak on behalf of the students of North Smithfield. I feel that I know quite a bit about education. I've taught at the middle school, high school, and college levels, worked at Brown University in education research, and I'm currently a project manager and research specialist at the Rhode Island Department of Education. I see that the search for a new superintendent is on the agenda. I ask that as you ponder this move, you ask questions of other superintendents and professionals in the field about the reputation and qualifications of Mr. Lindberg. Members of various boards in this town are quite diligent about asking for information from other school districts and even the state when they want reliable information. I ask that you follow this same process as you review your options for the superintendent search. Mr. Lindberg is often sought out by other school superintendents and by the state for his expertise in district administration. I bring this to your attention because the town listens to accountants on budgetary matters and engineers on building issues, so it only makes sense that you might listen to education professionals when it comes to education matters. Please, ask superintendents, ask officials at RIDE. Listen to those who understand what it takes to run a district. Look at where our district was 10 years ago and where it is today. Look at the team that has been built. It didn't happen by accident. Thank you, Mr. Lindberg.
Madam Chair, would it be appropriate to do this now or just?
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it, thanks. Sherry, could you do me a favor and pass this
Yes.
out? Thanks. Thank you. I'm a little surprised and humbled, actually, very humbled, so thanks a bunch. So I was going to read this later on in the meeting, I think it's best if I read it now, but again, it's very nice of you, both of you. So my employment contract with the district ends November 30, 2016. It's my intention to honor my contract with the contract term ending November 30, 2016. I'm contemplating other professional plans after November 30, 2016, 3 times. So I understand and respect the school committee's decision to move forward sooner rather than later by initiating a superintendent search. I acknowledge the fact that it is the school committee's responsibility, it's their power, their prerogative and their authority to move forward with the knowledge that my present superintendent's contract concludes November 30, 2016. It has been a privilege to be the North Smithfield School Superintendent for the past 11 years. You can't imagine how humbling it's been, really. The school community in the entire town should be most proud of what the district has accomplished together, cooperatively and collaboratively, over the last 11 years for our children. None of these incredible accomplishments and student achievements would have been possible without the efforts and dedication of the entire school community. Human beings, people that make our district a success. I've said it before and it should be said again. I believe unequivocally we have the best teaching staff in the entire state. That's where it all starts. We have a support staff of teacher assistants, custodians, maintenance technicians, secretaries, and clerks that bar none are also in that same place. Most importantly, I believe every person working in our district cares about our children and our schools. I've worked for 7 different superintendents in my history, and I realized early on the superintendent is only as successful as the people he or she surrounds himself or herself with. This administrative team, building administrators, directors, managers, and administrative support owns substantial responsibility and credit for our successes as a district. I have a very special acknowledgement, and I don't mean to embarrass her, but it's to Mrs. Sherry McGann, my secretary, who is the person behind making our district operate so smoothly. I could not have asked for or envisioned a more complete, competent, dedicated, intelligent, caring, and trustworthy individual to represent me and all of us when both staff and the public have communications and dealings with my office. In the end, any district must have the support of the school committee that embodies the district values and works tirelessly for the betterment of the district's and children's success. I would like to thank this present school committee for the opportunity to complete my contract year and to work with you as we collectively discuss and make decisions that are in the best interests of our children. I would also like to thank school committee members of the past 10 years for their tireless support and dedication to all of our children, as well as the entire school community. Again, I respect the school committee's decision to move forward with a search for a new school superintendent, and I will assist and cooperate wherever the school committee requests in the process, as well as with transition. This has been a humbling job for the last 11 years. Both of my parents, who are deceased, both of them were blue-collar workers. Neither had a college education. They worked hard to make sure that my brother and I had that. And I know they're looking down. Hopefully they're proud of all of us here and how far we've come. But I learned from them that it's no one person that deserves the credit. It's always a team effort, and I thank this team, and it's been an honor and a privilege. So I can't thank you enough. So thanks.
Mr. Lindberg, thank you so much for all of your years of service to the children and the parents and teachers and administration in North Smithfield.
Well,
Jim?
I just had something I want to say to the superintendent, and to echo your statement. I want to thank you for the tireless years of service that you've given to the children of North Smithfield. I appreciate your commitment and help with the potential transition to a new superintendent. Your legacy will continue as you leave us with a solid school department and with an excellent staff. It is now our job to keep moving forward towards being the best school district in the state. I look forward to working with you until the end of your term.
thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. There are a number of items to be considered for a single vote. Is there anything listed that anyone would like to comment on? Would someone like to make a motion so we can entertain discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the entire section 2 if we can. Second.
Is there a second? Discussion?
May I, we're going to take out 6A, just the bylaws. I know that there were some issues with that, or are we all set with that? 6A.
I don't have a 6 in mind.
It's 6.
Oh, 6 down here, okay.
6A, you got the small. It's okay, it's on the second.
We had a discussion on this.
I usually do follow Okay, so you want to send 6A from
From the motion?
the motion?
Sure.
Madam Chair, if I may, this is one other issue around the lacrosse and the track coaches. We had wanted to make sure you were aware and approve of the kind of reconfiguration, because right now they're included as your appointments, but we referenced old business, agenda items 1B and C. So I don't know how you're going to go about that.
Well, we can't exclude it, include it with old business.
However you want to do it.
Okay, we have a motion to, Leanne, or did you have a motion?
I would just like, I think that's going to be cause for some further discussion. So if we could remove that, the track and lacrosse coaches from the part of the consent agenda and keep it as a separate item.
Okay, please.
So you would come back to it later.
Yes, please.
So you're asking for 5C to be removed, and Jim asked for 6A.
So you want 6?
I'm not looking at 5C. I have 3 agendas. We're going with the one that,
Why don't we do this? We can approve 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, A, B, C, and then we leave D off.
They are numbered differently on the two agendas, that's what the confusion is.
I'm looking at the appendix.
Okay, so we're removing coaching appointments and bylaws.
The bylaws.
All of number 6? Okay,
I just want 6A, but if you want to pick out all of 6.
okay. Anything else? So did someone make a motion?
The only, on the minutes, the only correction is on page 2, number 5. I believe it was Mrs. Nato who, number 6. I believe it was Mrs. Nato who questioned who the district purchasing officer is, not myself. I think it was Mary.
I think that's correct. Okay.
So with that correction,
Someone like to make a motion?
So I make a motion to approve item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except for the appointment on the old business, and number 7, which is a donation.
Number 6. 6.
No, 6 we're leaving out.
We'll leave it at 6. I'll do that.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Do you want to discuss the separate items now? Okay, first up then is the appointment of the coaches.
So, if I, just for formality, so you want to move up the, under old business 1B and C, is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually on our agenda,
It's
in
BC.
both, so it's showing under the consent agenda, so we'll go through the motion.
Okay.
We approve most of it, we'll go through the ones we left out, and that will be the motion.
So you want to tackle now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta do B, C, and B and C.
Right, but it's also
No, I know, you gotta do both.
calling it ours.
Okay. One way or the other, we're going to move to those agenda items. Okay.
Coaching.
So I'll ask Mr. Tech to come on up, and which one do you want to take first? You want to take the core track and field program coaching line?
Let's go with the track first.
Okay.
Something easy to improve.
For my clarification, if I may, we have 3 different agendas. Can we just be uniform up here, which agenda are we using?
I'm
Are we
using
using the one that's stapled,
I use a staple one.
or the one that's double-sided?
the appendix.
Staple? Are we all going staple?
Yeah.
Staple.
I do see that the subject of the sports programs is under old business as well as coaching appointments. Did we want to move coaching appointments to?
It doesn't matter to me, Mary. I just didn't want it in consent. Needs discussion.
Okay.
That's all right. There it is.
What is your pleasure?
I think let Mr. Lindberg start with.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Tech, here you go.
No.
Okay.
Move that up.
Excuse me?
I think you'd have to waive the rules and move those items up on the agenda.
Either that or move the coaching appointments to
Or
the
do
old
that.
business? Okay, will somebody make a motion about the coaching appointments? Do you want to move it to old business? or
Sure.
move old
I will
business?
make a motion to move the coaching appointments to old business.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, I think we need to address item 6, the second readings of the new and revised policies.
Yes, just, I like the agenda as it's set, but the document that's before us, on page 3 of 12, puts community comments at the end. I think if we go D1, public comments, D2, and put K, community comments, as it's reflected in our agenda. I think we have those 2 things, and we
Make a motion to move.
So everybody on? No?
Can you just give those numbers again?
Sure, so page 3 of 12 on the bylaws.
Right.
Okay, so if so as the agenda sits today,
Yeah.
I'd like that reflected in this document. So D is public comment, and then, so that could be D1, or we could renumber them. And then D2 could be community comments, so we move K up to D1, basically. or D, whatever, however you want to do it.
D2.
but- Right, so K is D2, public comments is D1.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I mean, okay, motion to, I'm gonna make that one. Motion to identify on page 3 of 12 of the bylaws, D, public comment to be reflected as D1, public comment, and K to be reflected as D2, community comments.
Second, you got that, Sharon?
Got it.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Do you want to vote on these separately? All in favor of the revised with that revision? Do we need to sign it? Or
Yeah.
does it need to be given to them? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So moved.
And that was just that one, yes, so, yeah, I think we are.
You gotta make a motion for BC.
Is that to amend or pass? Sorry.
To amend. Do we have to have another reading?
Right, so you want me to make a motion?
Yeah, I see, you just made one motion.
Motion to pass the bylaws as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
You want to make a motion to, does anybody have any issues with the remaining?
No.
Motion to pass the remaining items, so time and effort reporting, retention of records, and procurement. As presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Madam
Okay.
Chair,
Yeah.
I just was notified that 2 people did sign up for community comments to comment on other items on the agenda.
Okay,
We heard the people that commented under public for agenda items,
okay,
and they just notified me that they have signed up.
okay.
All right, so I wanted to let you know before I went to
Okay,
my
I'll do that. People, you can each have 5 minutes to.
Have you got the list?
I don't have the list, so if you sign up,
It's the same 2 people.
Same two?
Yes.
This is Van.
Thank you. I'm back again. I'm Jean Mayo. I live at 11 Taratuta Trail, and I attended last month's school committee meeting. It was the first one that I had attended in its entirety for a long time, and I was there to support my husband, who is the transportation director, for disclosure purposes, but also to see for myself what I had been reading about in the newspapers. And I was very disturbed by some of the things that I witnessed, to the point that I went home and put these thoughts down at once. I have sat in your seat. In fact, I was there longer than all of your tenures combined, and I'm only telling you this to perhaps lend credence to the observations that I would like to make about last month's meeting. To start on a positive note, I would like to thank you for the $414,000 expenditure for technology and upgrades. As the Valley Breeze said, those items had long been identified as needs, and I hope that that is just the beginning of looking at the bigger picture of what else is truly needed for this school system. My observations. First, the agenda was way too long. I don't know if all of your agendas are like that, but truthfully, the one tonight doesn't look much shorter. And even without last month, the prolonged discussion over the budget items and the recent items and the closed session that could have been a meeting by itself, there was no way that that agenda was going to be accomplished in a timely manner. After 10 o'clock at the latest, no one can listen well, no one can think clearly, and no one can make a well-thought-out decision. And if you think otherwise, you're fooling yourself. I have been there, and in my opinion, and the way that we did it long ago, not that that was the best way, but the way we did it was during budget season. The agendas could be split into budget/money matters as one meeting, and all other things, including educational issues, into another meeting. And I know it adds meetings to what is already a busy schedule, but that's part of the job. And the educational issues should be a priority as opposed to being squeezed between budget discussions. Second, when I was on the school committee, we of course had our issues and our disagreements, but I would hate to think that I was ever a part of a team that was as disrespectful as what I witnessed last month. And I'm talking particularly about the discussion regarding the 2 new part-time positions, a guidance clerk and an accounts payable person. Suddenly, and seemingly out of the blue, an idea was introduced for 3 new stipend positions instead of the requested part-time positions. And without any discussion, any questioning, any input or request for input from the administrators or the superintendent, who were hearing this proposal for the first time, 5 of you voted for it. That says to me that perhaps some of you were not hearing about it for the first time, which is a whole other issue, or you just don't care what the administration thinks, and that is shameful. They are the educational leaders of this community, the administration, along with the teachers, and also the support staff who make a lot of efforts to make things work in this community. They are all the reasons that the schools in this community do as well as they do. They are the ones holding this system together in spite of so many outside influences, trying to pull it apart to the point that your Smithfield and its politics make us a laughingstock in the state. They are the ones who know best. Whether it was a good idea or not, who knows, because there was no discussion. You should be ashamed of the speed of that vote and the questions that were not asked and the dialogue that did not take place. The process and the lack of respect were disgraceful. And I'm really sorry to paint the entire school committee with a broad brush. I think you probably know who I'm speaking to, and whether I'm speaking to you or not. And finally, one last thought. You are the school committee. Your job is to see to it that our children and grandchildren, in my case, receive the best possible education that this community can provide. You are not the budget committee. You are not the town council, even if you were appointed by them. You don't have to do their jobs for them. The budget committee and the town council will make their own decisions based on what they think is best from their perspective. Your perspective should be the education that goes on in our schools, and your job is to advocate for what our students need and deserve, no more and certainly no less. I was very happy to read in the newspaper that you stood up to the town council at a recent meeting for some control of the surplus funds, and I hope that same advocacy will continue in all of your decision-making. And thank you for listening to my opinion.
Hi, Paiva, 440 Buxton Street. I'd like to speak about the DATCO issue because it's again on the agenda. I'm not here to dispute police reports, but I do want to address transparency. I attended the school committee meeting on January 9th at the middle school. For over 29 minutes, DATCO was discussed. At no less than on 6 separate occasions did Mr. Clifford refer to the way he calculated route times by using Google Maps. The YouTube video is available if you'd like to see it. Mr. Clifford says at minute 10:15, do what I did, use Google Maps. He offered to show Mr. Mayo how to map the routes on Google on many occasions. Again, this process is mentioned at minute 10:52, minute 12:05, minute 12:49, and minute 19:55. In all of that nearly 30 minutes, at no time was the simple fact revealed that a police report had been filed the day before. So my question is really very simple. If there was nothing to hide and Mr. Clifford was comfortable with the process he chose, why did he state over and over again that he only Google mapped the routes? In fact, at 10:50 into the video, Mr. Clifford was asked pointedly whether Mr. Mayo should drive the routes. Mr. Clifford again said no, use Google Maps, and offered again to show Mr. Mayo how to do it. I'm asking for clarification. Please watch the video and help me understand. Why, when Mr. Clifford knew that he did more than Google map the routes, did he keep this information from the public at a public meeting? This is part of my frustration as a community member. Simple questions aren't being asked and answered. It hurts our town, and it damages the open meetings process. Thank you.
Lindberg, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it's okay, I'd like to defer to give as much time to Mr. McGee. He's worked hard on his presentation that we made you aware of, if that's okay.
Sure.
Thank you.